The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegar.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me tonight is not AJ. Unfortunately, he is out on the IL tonight. Not with the shoulder. He's out sick. But joining me is Mike LaPlant. What's going on, man?
Not much, Joe. Just living life. How about you?
Hanging in there, man. Had a good night at my daughter's softball end of year party here. You know, they won the championship.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure that was a celebration.
It was good, man. All the we were all feeling pretty good. It was at a local brewery, so had a couple before the show, so I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, man. Looking forward to getting to tonight's show. We're gonna be jumping into our division previews, and to do that, we're gonna be
AJ.
jumping in. You're all sick. Go to bed, AJ.
He's to the left of me or the right of me, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, he's down there. Me. Yes. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So let's like I was saying, to help us with our division previews, the first one we're doing tonight is the AFC East preview. It's gonna be Mr. Troy King. Let's bring him in here. What's up, Troy?
What's up, guys? How y'all feeling? I appreciate y'all inviting me.
Hey, man. Happy to have you on. I know this is at least the second time on the show. So
second time.
Yeah, so glad to have you back, man. You are now writing for the football guys. You're moving around.
Yeah, man. I'm with the football guys. You know, it's been awesome, man. I've been there for a little bit at this point. A couple years ago, you know, when I first started, I wasn't with them, but I've been with them for a little while. It's been awesome. Joe's great.
Yeah, man, he's a good guy.
Team. So yeah, I really like being part of the team.
He's got the name Joe. He's got to be a good guy.
You're right.
Yeah, definitely like that, man. So, all right. Well, I know I'm probably the only one drinking, or I know I am, but I'm still gonna do it. So we're gonna do our beer of the week.
Beer.
So, not that I need it anymore because, like I said, I had a few at the brewery celebrating the championship. But I'm drinking a Flying Dog. I kind of like the bottle, man. It's kind of cool.
It's a cool bottle.
It's called Nuclear Smile.
That's a hell of a name.
It's a hazy double IPA.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I wanted to bring this one on and do it. It got a I believe I gave it. I hadn't looked, but I believe I gave it 3 3/4 on Untapped out of 5. So it's a solid above average IPA for me.
Cheers.
You guys are just sticking with the H2O, right?
H2O.
That's fine with me. Hey, I got a little bit of that too, but
I'm representing.
I gotta represent the brand, you know.
I gotta represent the water boy, Bobby Boucher.
So, all right, Troy. So tonight, man, we're gonna be covering our AFC East division preview, and we're gonna go. How we do these is we go position by position. Kind of rip through some ADP and then just do some questions specific on players and maybe some team based depending on the team. But first things first, non-fantasy football related question here. We do throw these in. The Bills are the hands down favorite to win this division, but are they in your mind the hands down favorite to finally get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC?
Super Bowl? Oof, that's a tough one. I'm not going to put them in the Super Bowl just yet.
All right.
I feel like I think they have a very good shot at it, but I feel like, I know obviously Tyreek's not on the Chiefs anymore, but the Chiefs are still a very good football team. I feel like, we got the Bengals. I don't see them. Do I see them going back to the Super Bowl? Probably not, but I just have it a tough road, man. It's a tough road to get back there.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's going to be tough. I think the Ravens are going to be better this year, as long as Lamar can stay healthy. I know they gave up Hollywood, but that team was good because of the run game, and I feel like they're totally dedicated back to that again. I don't think this division is going to be as much of a cakewalk as it was last year for them either. And then obviously the Bengals are going to be, right there. There's a lot of good teams, Oakland could shock some people, they brought in a lot of guys. It's not going to be a cakewalk for them, but I do think they are the favorite. Hands down, but I think they are up there for sure.
They're definitely going to be the odds-on favorite. They'll probably be the fan favorite as well. It's tough though. I mean, you look at a run like the Patriots made, in the decade of 2000s to 2010s. They made it look so easy. It's not. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline. I mean, a lot. Like
100%.
I've been watching the documentary, with Tom Brady, Man in the Arena.
Yes.
And just how much they explain all the discipline, the drills, the tape watching. It takes a lot, and you got to have commitment from the full 53-man roster. That's a lot. So it's not an easy task.
Well, yeah, and it's not just that. It's like, I mean, you've got to have the veteran presence. You've got to have, the leaders on those teams, right? You can't just come in and go, oh, I mean, I've got all the talent in the world. This is easy, right? I mean, come on. We all knew Tom Brady came in. He wasn't the best football player in the world, but he became the GOAT because he just kept busting his ass. And so, it really is. It comes down to really just working hard and learning and scheming and things like that. And so
it takes the perfect storm.
100%. So let's jump into our quarterbacks as we are talking about those right now. And this division, right, the QBs right now led heavily by Josh Allen with QB1 on ADP. We got Tua Tagovailoa, QB 17. We've got Mac Jones at QB 23, Zach Wilson at 24. You can kind of flip flop them depending on which ADP you look at. And then I threw in Teddy Bridgewater QB 38 just because you never quite know with Tua, right? Like Teddy's no slouch. So like he's not getting drafted. We just gotta think about him. But let's talk about here Josh Allen. Start off here with the number one quarterback being drafted here. And, in your mind, is he the unquestioned QB1, or is there somebody else that you would legitimately consider drafting ahead of him?
So I would say that he's definitely the QB1. However, in terms of drafting, I'm not going to draft anyone over Josh Allen, but you can make an argument that Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, or Lamar could finish the season as QB1. I'm not going to draft them over Josh Allen, but I feel like any of those guys have the upside to finish the season as QB1. But I think Josh Allen is definitely my QB1. Like I wouldn't draft any of them over him.
Now, let's take it a step further, right? So his ADP is QB1. You wouldn't draft anybody ahead of him, but would you actually draft Josh Allen where he's going, which I believe is like end-ish of second round, maybe?
No, I would not.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of with you. In one QB league, absolutely not. Like, he deserves to be the first quarterback off the board, but I can find other QB value later on in the draft. I don't have to reach for Josh Allen because I feel like his margin of QB1 isn't that great for me to justify taking him that early.
And I agree. Mike, any other thoughts there?
No, he's probably just the safest decision. I mean, since Mahomes, coming off a 50 touchdown season, it's just he seems so safe with his rushing floor that he adds in. I mean, he gets, I believe it was 6 touchdowns every year since he's been in the league, just on the ground. That adds such a high floor. And now that he's finally putting it together, as we can see through the air, he is now offering quite the tremendous ceiling. So, yeah, no other comments after that.
Nice. All right, man. You gonna lead the next one there, man. Go ahead.
All right. So, Going on to Miami here. I mean, obviously the big news was, the big trade for Tyreek Hill in the offseason. Now that they're kind of loading up to trying to put him in the best situation he's been in since Bama, having all those weapons around him. What should we expect from Tua now, Troy, that he has all these weapons?
I think Tua's definitely going to surprise some people. Do I think he's going to finish as a QB1? I feel like most likely he's going to finish as a high-end QB2, but he clearly has the upside, right? I mean, in my opinion, he just has to be a better version of Jimmy G in order to have that upside, right? Because McDaniel, he's coming in there for, the first time. He's already emphasized the run game. So the things that Tua hasn't had in his career has been a consistent run game and a solid offensive line. So they improved the offensive line. The run game should look a lot better than it has in years past. And I feel like that's going to take pressure off of Tua as well. If we're able to consistently run the ball, you'll see some play action. And not just that, I feel like his job is easy, right? All he has to do is get the ball in his playmakers' hands. And when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesiki, even Cedric Wilson, it shouldn't be too hard. And we know Tua is accurate when he has time to be accurate. He's not being harassed by the defense. So he just gets the ball out of his hands quickly, gets it to his playmakers. They can do the rest. So I believe that Tua is going to surprise some people, and I think he's going to finish as a high-end QB2. It's possible he could sneak in to the back end of QB1, but I feel like that's his ultimate ceiling. I'm not going to go that far just yet. I want to see him play on the field, so I feel comfortable saying high-end QB2.
I kind of look at his ceiling kind of like he can be a little bit better Kirk Cousins, kind of that guy that just
I've always
that
come to
fringe QB1 every year. That I feel you. I'm just with you on that because that is kind of his ceiling right now until he can show us more.
Yeah, it's tough with him. Like, you just have to hope that he can actually throw to Hill better than that video where the Dolphins were like, "Hey man, it's rocket time!" Like, come on.
Look, it was practice. And here's the thing about it. Also, it's like Tua's one. He's not as bad of a deep ball throw as people say he is, but also the offense itself is not going to require him to have to throw deep every single play. Most of the plays are probably going to be short to intermediate with the occasional long bomb, right? And Tyreek Hill is more of a well-rounded wide receiver than when he first entered the league. So I feel like you're going to be able to use Tyreek in a bunch of different ways, and same with Jalen Waddle. But I think Tua is good enough to get the ball where it needs to go. He's very accurate, so that's also going to help. But yeah, I think Tua's going to definitely surprise some people.
Yeah. Cheers, Dylan.
Cheers.
I'm the only one drinking, but cheers. All good. Yeah, so let's step over to the Jets, and I want to say we got a fan here waiting in the room, so go Jets, I guess. So Zach Wilson, right, is the quarterback there for the Jets, and I mean he had a fairly strong finish to 2021, right? Do you see him taking the next step forward and being at least a reliable enough quarterback where like the weapons are going to be more reliable, especially now that they've got a couple extras this season?
Yeah, I feel like Zach Wilson's also I think he's going to take a step forward because, like the Jets did what they needed to do to set up Zach Wilson for success. So when you have the Breece Hall, which should improve that running game, obviously that's also going to help the quarterback. And even though this is less sexy, because we know about they brought in Garrett Wilson, they have Elijah Moore that looked good before the injury, but they brought in, they paid money for tight ends, CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin. Even though they're not sexy names, I believe they're also going to help, sometimes tight end's a quarterback's best friend, right? Sometimes you look to him as an outlet to take pressure off. So I think they're trying to do what they can to help Zach Wilson. And again, he looked awful last year. He looked terrible. So in my opinion, he's not going to look worse than he did last year. So I think the ceiling, and hopefully we also see him use more of his legs because we know Zach Wilson has that ability to, rush. He's not like Lamar Jackson, but he's mobile. So hopefully we can see more of that too, which is going to also help his overall fantasy, output. So I'm actually weirdly intrigued by the Jets. They're a young team. I think they're raw. I don't think they're going to be good, but for fantasy, I think we could see a couple of players put up some solid points.
I will say this, man, and because I mentioned the strong finish, he was QB 13 the last 5 weeks of the season.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah,
it shocked me when I saw that numbers. I was like, wow. I mean, I know it was
that is
okay, but
impressive.
QB 13, that's all right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think
You'll
he's
take
going
it,
to-
man.
I like him. You know, you said like Mac Jones and him are back to back. When Mac Jones is before him, give me Zach.
Yeah, I agree. Wilson, 100%. Mac Jones just feels like a guy.
So
like,
vanilla. He's just very vanilla.
yeah.
He's the next Phillip Rivers.
No.
I mean, I don't even.
If he can be Phillip
Well,
Rivers.
I meant fantasy wise. I meant
No,
like
I
just
think
vanilla.
I don't know. I think Phil Rivers was really good there for a long time.
Okay, towards the end of his career.
Yes.
He's just safe. I feel like Mac is safe. He doesn't have any upside. Expecting that offense is gonna be run. He's gonna dump the ball off, to his tight ends and all that. But he's just not sexy at all. He's like your QB 15 to 17 range forever. Like I don't see him being a QB 1 unless something drastically changes.
Yeah, we're seeing here Jets O-line could be top 5. I mean, they drafted some dudes.
They have the talent.
They improved that too, and he had no wide receivers. Although, hey, more came on like a beast, dude. And Corey Davis was no slouch; he was just a little banged up. But and now they brought in Wilson, so yeah, I do like the upside. Like I said, if you're getting to that range, especially that QB2 range, and you want to go for like a home run ball, I wouldn't bat an eye taking Zach Wilson. I really wouldn't. But Mac Jones is literally just kind of like the whatever. And like there's a reason why we don't have a question on him because there was a game he threw the ball 3 times, guys. I'm sorry. I don't care how much it was snowing or not. It doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. Mac Jones, like he gets I feel like he's a solid NFL quarterback. Like I feel like he's going to be good for the Patriots in terms of running whatever system they're gonna run now. I
agree.
But for fantasy, it's just like unless it's super flex, I'd have no interest. Like if you have super flex, every quarterback's valuable, but in one QB leagues, absolutely not. Like there's just no unless every quarterback in the league is hurt somehow, then yeah, I'll look to him. But nah.
Yeah, no, it's gonna take some adding of the more weapons to really give him a ceiling, probably because I don't see them throwing at all with the weapons they have currently. I mean, it's going to be like 75%, 70% run, I feel like. They want to control the tempo.
It'd be definitely interesting. So let's jump over to running backs here and just ripping through the ADP here real quick. So Breece Hall's leading the way, Mr. Rookie at RB22, Damien Harris for New England, RB26, Devin Singletary, RB32, Chase Edmonds at RB34, new to Miami. We got Michael Carter, RB35, Stevenson at 41, Mostert, new on Miami as well. That's a theme. RB51, Myles Gaskin, RB59, James White, 65, and Sonny Michel at RB69. Also,
James Cook, I think, is right around Singletary too. I think.
Oh, did I miss him? My bad.
I
tried to do this before I ran off to the party, but
But I'm pretty sure James Cook's ADP is like right where
he might be. I'll have to pull that up and correct myself on that. I apologize, but yeah,
we're all human, Joe.
False. I'm a machine. Just kidding. James Cook is looking like he's ranked at 40. This pulled up the wrong stupid link. No, that's not helpful. Now I'm just making things worse.
I feel like I have a lot of thoughts on all these running backs. Like,
yeah,
because I feel like it's such a
crap shoot here. So, so he's actually, because I'm using the sleeper ADP, he's actually RB 36.
Yeah, I feel like he's
right after Carter. So good call on that one. I just completely glossed over him for some reason. But yeah, so there you go. All right, so Mike, first question, man.
Yeah, so obviously we know Jets. They got the rookie sensation out of Iowa, Breece Hall, to electrify that backfield. In the addition of Michael Carter. That's the question now. With Michael Carter, he was kind of the belle of the ball last year. Didn't have the highest draft capital, but now Breece Hall coming in with second-round draft capital. What do we expect? Kind of workload between these two.
Man, it's Breece Hall's taking over, man. I feel like Michael Carter, he's gonna get worked in. He's not gonna just ride the bench, but I feel like Breece Hall's gonna get definitely the higher opportunity share. I feel he's going to, because you could use him in the pass game as well as on first and second down. He's just a complete back, right? And you don't spend that draft capital just to not use him. And we know he's talented. So I feel like the Jets, he's going to be huge for the Jets. I think Michael Carter, I've heard people say he's going to be on third down, maybe. Like, he's going to get mixed in, but I just feel that Breece Hall is going to take over that backfield. And I don't know how much of a workhorse he's going to be. Like, I don't know if he's going to, be on the field, for 90% of the plays or whatever. But I feel that he's young, he's well-rounded. I think he's going to really, really help the Jets out. I'm excited to draft him.
Yeah, I guess one little sub question would be, how would you, because there's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. I mean, like we said, they added Garrett Wilson, they still have Corey Davis there. I always love mentioning my guy Braxton Berrios. He reminds me of a Wes Welker type, but they got a lot of weapons there. So do you see those weapons kind of taken away from that, like you said, that workload, from even making it to be that tier one? RB?
I would say that I don't know if he's going to be that tier one this upcoming year. I mean, maybe the usage, but the way that I see it, right, is that I think they're going to, based off what we saw last year, right? I know that, Joe mentioned that Zach Wilson was QB 13, towards the end of the season, but I think that you draft Breece Hall to also take pressure off of Zach Wilson, right? You don't want him to be just dropping back and just chucking the ball down the field, every play. So you're going to use the running game to ease pressure, right? So you're going to use that play action, whatever the case may be, just to take pressure off of Zach Wilson. So I think that Breece Hall's going to be just fine. If I had to say a finish, I think he could be flirting with RB1 if he's just everything that everyone hypes him up to be his rookie year. Possibly, maybe doesn't happen until next year, but I think that he's going to get enough work where he's going to be extremely fantasy relevant. I think Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are just talented, so they're going to get theirs anyway. I'm sorry, Braxton Berrios is going to probably.
No, you're right.
And it's like they brought in the tight ends too, so they're going to see a little bit of work. But I feel like Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Breece Hall, those are the guys that are really going to eat in this offense.
Yeah, hey, no, and you're right. Braxton Berrios, he'll forever live as a DFS option.
I maybe it's because I clouded by the fact that I drafted him in a dynasty league last year, but I just find it hard to believe that Michael Carter's going to just disappear in this offense. I think he could turn into like a James White-ish type of player, which is still valuable.
That would be his best case scenario.
Right? Like, come on. We've got like a J.D. McKissick, we've got Nyheim Hines, we've got James White types of players. I think Michael Carter could easily turn into that. And the dude can run the ball. They're not going to be able to run the ball 20 times with Breece Hall. He's going to have to get he's going to still run the ball 5 times a game, and then you throw him 6 to 7 passes a game. He catches 4 or 5 of them. That's a healthy number of targets and touches every game. I still think he's got some value there in fantasy. So I don't write him off completely. I watched him too many times in college with, and I know he was sitting there with Javonte Williams in UNC, but I say time and time again, if Javonte Williams had not been there and Michael Carter had been the top dog in that offense, we'd be talking about Javonte Williams. We'd be talking about Michael Carter like we do Javonte Williams. I still think he's that good. I really do. And when he was given the chance last year, he kind of proved it. But let's move over here to your Miami Dolphins. And as I kind of alluded to here in the ADP rundown, this is a very, very, very crowded backfield.
Yes. So
I think everybody clearly thinks led by Chase Edmonds, but I mean, who are you trusting out of this offense and why?
So it's going to be a committee. So first off, another thing I'm going to say is all of these backs are not making the roster, right? The Dolphins are not going to go into the season with Edmonds, Mostert, Michelle, Gaskin, and they also have Solomon Ahmed, right?
Right. I didn't even mention him. I just I'm done talking about the Dolphins.
Right? You don't need to mention him. They're not going into the season with all these running backs, right? Obviously, they just signed Tony Michelle. So I think the only one that's guaranteed is like Chase Edmonds, right? You know, no matter what, he's going to be making the team. Most likely because there's familiarity with the system. Sonny Michel's a solid running back too. Myles Gaskin, he's young, he's talented. I feel like he could fit into this scheme, but again, there's going to be an odd man out. I just don't know who yet. I think Chase Edmonds is the RB that you want. We've seen in San Francisco how they focus on the run game. And Mike McDaniel mentioned how this offense is going to run through the run game, right? Obviously, you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, but it's going to be a run-first team. And I think Chase Edmonds is going to be the lead of that committee. And hopefully also he gets targets. We've seen him be a solid pass catcher out of the backfield. And I think there's a reason why you bring Chase Edmonds from Arizona to be your RB1, because McDaniel had to play him twice every season when he was with San Francisco. So to me, you saw something in him that you wanted him to be your lead back. So I think that's something that's also I try to take that into consideration. I just think that he's a solid running back. Like, is he a superstar? No, but I feel like in this offense, I think he can succeed. And I think let's say they keep like a Sony Michel, for example, he would make more sense to like use on the goal line. So maybe he'd be like a goal line vulture if he happens to make the team. And like Mostert, everyone's seen Mostert. When he's healthy, he's a home run hitter. Anytime he touches the ball, he's a home run hitter. We have not seen him stay consistently healthy. I believe he's 31, so he's not going to get the volume to be the RB1. It's more like he's just going to have to be extremely efficient. So I'm a little bit worried. Like if you're doing 0 RB, that's someone that you might want to target.
I've done it. I've done
exactly.
it. I've 100% done it for that exact reason. My thing with this backfield is like, can any of these guys play special teams? Because if they can't, you're right. They're not going to carry 3, 4, 5 running backs every single week. Not to this caliber running backs, right? They just don't do it. Teams don't do that. So somebody's got to step up and do like punt return or something, right? But I don't recall any of these guys doing that in the past.
Well, it's definitely not going to be Chase Edmonds.
No.
It's not going to be Chase Edmonds. I don't think Mostert makes sense. I mean, I think he's done it before, but like, is he going to do it now? Maybe. It's just hard to – I feel like Myles Gaskin, Ahmed, they could play special teams. Like, they played special teams before. Like, that would make sense. Like, they can – Sony Michel, I don't see Sony playing special teams. So, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if in his career he's been a special teamer. Like, he's never had to be a special teamer. So,
yeah, I don't know, Joe. I mean, with the familiarity and these 49ers coach Mike McDaniel coming on over, bringing the system with it, kind of just gives me a little bit of an idea. Like, I kind of want to listen to Jeff. Kind of want to just take the lowest valued ADP running back in this offense. Just take the
Jeff
shot.
Lambert, Jeff Lambert from RBT. Yeah, I feel you. It's just another, but
because it's hard to invest in somebody you really don't know what the workload's going to be.
It's probably why I'm just not going to invest in it, to be honest with you. Yeah, but they're not going super high. Like, I feel like with the 49ers, at least, right, you always had one guy every year because they blew up the year before that was going pretty early, right? And then everybody was like, oh, yeah, he's the guy. And then, 2 years ago, that was Mostert, and then that bombed out. And so then it was like, I forget who. It might have been Jeff Wilson last year, or 2 years ago. And then last year was Elijah Mitchell, and everybody was going to Trey Sermon. And it was just kind of like, whatever, man. Like, so exhausted trying to figure that one out. So that's why I think these guys are kind of 0 RB-ish only type of guys that I'm interested in. I don't want them anywhere else. Maybe some best ball. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't really want them for a redraft, because then it's like, good luck. It's almost like New England, like in years past, like, good luck figuring out who's going to be the guy. For even 49ers, good luck figuring out who's the guy every week.
I mean,
I feel like Elijah Mitchell, I think he's still the guy, but I understand I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
I was going to say, speaking about the Patriots, I mean, we can move on to our next guy.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
And I feel like we were even talking about him last year when I was setting up these show notes. Kind of around the same question. Is Damien Harris the running back to finally trust in New England? Or, is it going to be one of these running backs, multiple ones they drafted this year?
I think
or like a Ramondre.
I think it's still Damien Harris's backfield. He's another guy where I believe if you're going 0 RB, target Damien Harris. Stevenson's going to – here's the thing. He's not – other running backs are going to get work. Stevenson, I feel like in his limited opportunities, like he looked good in some games, right? He looked very capable. They used him on the goal line, so he could be a little bit annoying. Pierre Strong – they got, Kevin Harris. They still got James White on the squad. So it's very crowded. Not all of them are making it. The whole special teams, just like we were talking about the Dolphins. Someone's going to have to play special teams. But I feel like Damien Harris, we know he's on lock. He's the lead of that committee. I think he's the most talented running back on that squad. So, if you're doing 0 RB, that's somebody I'm going to be targeting as well.
Late rounder. I can't disagree with that. You are going to have to deal with your weeks when Ramondre vultures Damien a little bit, but I mean, Damien has the same ability to vulture Ramondre, so it works both ways. It's just kind of it's like you said, 0 RB target. Other than that, I mean, I'm not really looking to go into my season with Damien Harris as my RB1.
No, absolutely not. But I will say this about New England, right? And because we talked about it with Mac Jones, right? This is now becoming a team where they want to rely on the run a little more. Yep. It's almost like the early days with Tom Brady, right? They couldn't rely on Brady to really just like fling it around like he did later on in his career. Like earlier on, like you could rely on some of those running backs, right? A little bit more. So now you're kind of getting back to that to where like, yeah, they're not studs, but Damien Harris is plenty fine as like a 0 RB or, an RB, back in RB2, RB3 type of guy. I mean, he had some pretty nice weeks, finished off pretty strong last season. Yeah, they're going to mix him in, probably a little more than you like, but I still really do like Harris, and I kind of think he actually could be a little undervalued in drafts because I think he's slightly safer than some of those other RB2s that are going around him right now. Like he's in that Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt range. It's like, yeah, right. And you're kind of like, man, like I don't know. Like I'm not feeling it with some of those guys. Like do you really want CEH over him? Because that's who's going in front of him right now. I don't.
I think CEH is going ahead of him
slightly, but Miles Sanders, like you said, like there's just guys you're kind of like. Damien Harris is just, I mean, he's going to get all the goal line work there, it feels like. So I'll be happy to just lean on, 10 touchdowns, which feels like it's kind of easy for him to get. But all right, man, let's jump over here to Buffalo, finish off with them. And Devin Singletary is another guy who finished off pretty strong last year. Seems like he's at least before the draft, he was clear favorite, and then you reminded me about James Cook as I botched the ADP, but I still think Devin Singletary feels like the guy there. Zach Moss has just sort of been pushed aside in everybody's mind. So do you think Devin Singletary will be the easy RB1 for the Bills?
I think Singletary is going to be the one that gets the rushing work. I think he's going to be the one that is on the 1s and 2s. And then I feel like even though Josh Allen's quote-unquote the RB1, maybe we see him more in terms of the goal line, and maybe that's when they might trot out Zach Moss. Who knows? But James Cook, we know that they drafted him for his receiving ability, right? He's versatile enough where you can also use him on first and second down, but I feel like he should be exclusively the third down back because he's just that impressive of a pass catching running back. But I say also in PPR leagues, it's tough, right? I think you're probably going to want to lean Cook a little bit more, but I think that Devin Singletary is not going to go away. I think towards the back half of last year, he was impressive and he looked really good. I think if I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I think he was, flirting with RB1 if he wasn't an RB1 towards the back half of last year. He was just, again, scoring. He was just looking like everything that you've been hoping for him to look like. So I think none of them are going to be the workhorse, but I think for the time being, I'll say Devin Singletary is the RB1, but James Cook is going to be mixed in, and if he's just extremely impressive, maybe just takes over that job.
Yeah, we got a fan here of Troy's. Yeah, he just
Yo,
wanted to
Ah, there we go.
my God, Dan, Beezy, all them, brother Matt. Shout out to y'all, Sons of Dynasty.
Yep, I
Yeah.
just
So
wanted to
the
make sure
last
that they
3
got
games
represented.
played, by the way, Devin Singletary was RB5.
Oh, see, exactly. I'm like, I knew it was like some. I knew he was.
It
already
was really good. The last few games, he was just balling out, dude.
Yep. I was just gonna say in PPR he was even running back 6. That's actually impressive. That kind of blows my mind. Like Zach Wilson finishing 13 at the end of the year last year. You really can. You really can get
Small sample size,
Yeah,
but
it is a
hey,
small
it
sample
is
size.
kind of a piques your interest. You know what I mean? Especially with these values we're getting some of these guys.
But yeah, so if you want, we can move on to our big and our bad section of this preview. The one we all, we've really been waiting to get for, and that's the wide receivers.
Yeah, so let's just roll through the ADP here. So Stephon Diggs for the Bills at wide receiver 5, Tyreek Hill newbie for the Dolphins here at wide receiver 6. We got Jalen Waddle at 18, Garrett Wilson the rookie at 33, Elijah Moore teammate at 37, Gabriel Davis all the way down at wide receiver 43. Then Jacoby Myers at 57, Devante Parker, newbie for the Patriots at 66, Jameson Crowder at 74, Corey Davis at 78, and then I just cut it off. There's a lot of receivers in this division to talk about. So talking here with the Dolphins, we will start off with them because, of course, the big impact trade everybody wants to talk about is Tyreek Hill. And so what does the impact of him... So there's two sides to the question, right? What is the impact on his fantasy value coming from the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes have on him? And then what does his arrival have, impact Jalen Waddle and everybody else on this team, like Gesiki, et cetera?
It's a fair question, right? I feel like if to expect the Tyreek Hill of the Chiefs is you're being overly optimistic, right? I just feel like it's unrealistic for us to see the exact same numbers that he put up with Patrick Mahomes, right? Tua is not that a quarterback, and again, you don't have. I guess if you want to compare like the talent that Travis Kelce has, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Now, obviously, you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but Tyreek Hill's going to come in. He's going to be wide receiver 1. I think he's going to command the highest target share because you don't pay him that much money, and he doesn't command that target share. But I think he's going to be still a wide receiver 1. I believe he's still going to be a wide receiver 1. It's just how high is his ceiling, right? Or worst case, maybe wide receiver 13, 14, something like that. But you're still going to draft him. He's still going to ball out. He's still Tyreek Hill. And I think Jalen Waddle's good enough where if you want to comp them, I guess Tyreek Hill's the Debo and Jalen Waddle's the Brandon Ayuk. Like they're still both going to be good. They're both not going to finish as wide receiver 1. Someone's going to have to take a step back, and maybe it's going to be Waddle. Who knows? But I think that he's still going to ball out. Again, the talent, they're going to focus on getting him the ball. They want him to be happy. They paid him that money. So, yeah, don't overthink it. You want to draft him, but just make sure your expectations are, he's not the same Tyreek Hill he's going to be with Patrick Mahomes because he's freaking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Despite him saying that Tua is more accurate.
I didn't want to say it.
Here's the thing.
You should.
So, again, like if you want to talk, I would never say that. I don't know why he said it. It was very unprompted and it was just weird. Like it was so unnecessary. Like I know like Tyreek Hill's been trying to hype up Tua, which I appreciate, but I feel like it's almost too much. But like, look, I'm a Dolphins fan. I hope everything that Tyreek Hill is saying is right, and I believe in Tua as well. If you want to look at completion percentage, like if we pulled up completion percentage, Tua probably has one of the best completion percentage because again, most of his throws are short to intermediate. Mm-hmm. So I think that might play a case, and that's Tua's game, right? He's known for being accurate. But it's just, again, I think it was not a necessary comment. No one's taking Tua over Patrick Mahomes unless you just don't know anything about football. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm just excited about the offense, and I'm excited to see Tua take a step forward.
Yeah, I mean, one just little quick note I'll add. I mean, The one outcome I can see is if they both become wide receiver ones, and this is obviously the outcome where Tua is a wide QB one. It's just like you said, Tyreek, too much draft capital invested in the trade, too much money invested in the contract. He's going to get that high target share. And if Waddle does finish as a wide receiver one, it's going to be solely based off efficiency, not volume.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not drafting Hill where his ADP is right now. I have a tough time finding him even finishing at wide receiver 6. I think you're buying the absolute ceiling for him in a Miami offense right now. So I'm out on him at this price.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's fair. Like, again, he's very expensive right now. So
he's going to have some massive weeks. He's going to turn more into what he was like, what? 2-3 years ago, where he was just so like boom or bust, and then like maybe overall he finishes at like wide receiver 12, and you're like, oh, he was wide receiver 1, but it's like, dude, he had like 4 good weeks. He's Amari Cooper all over again. Like, no, I'm out. So
I think he's a little better than Amari Cooper, but
yeah.
we can move
but
on.
But it's the same like boom bust weeks, right? Where it's just kind of like those boom weeks carry him into wide receiver 1 territory because they're like 40-point weeks because they'll score like 3 touchdowns.
But that's the game we love to play, Joe.
I like consistency.
So we'll move on to the Jets then. Now, Elijah Moore, he was very electric, very good his rookie year. You know, Corey Davis coming around. He's supposed to be healthy this year. You got the new, addition of Garrett Wilson, like we've reiterated, to compete with. Can we expect the same expectations, kind of like we had last year for Elijah Moore, or is it, should we check him at the door and kind of take him back a little bit, like how we are with Tyreek?
I mean, where he's going, like, I'm perfectly fine taking a shot on him. I feel like he just had such boom games. I don't know if we're gonna see the exact same numbers, but he's gonna be very good. I'll say that he's gonna be very good. He's going to, I think, just having Garrett Wilson and him on the team, like, I'm just very excited for Elijah Moore. I think he's gonna be a value. I don't think he's gonna be a wide receiver 1 or anything. Like, I'm not getting crazy here, but I feel like he's gonna be a solid wide receiver 2. And I think you're going to see probably some big weeks from him just because we saw a little bit of the talent last year. And then Garrett Wilson, he's a rookie, but he's extremely talented too. I think we're going to see some impressive games from both of them. Which one's the wide receiver 1? I don't know. I feel like in terms of just based off of talent, I think personally Garrett Wilson is more talented than Elijah Moore. But who knows? Elijah Moore could still be the wide receiver 1. But I think we have to wait to see it on the field, but I'm definitely excited for him this season.
Can I give you? I just love throwing these stats out because this division screamed them as soon as I started planning it. Elijah Moore, if you want to count the last 6 games played, now of course this is in the last 6 weeks, but just the last 6 games played for them, he was wide receiver 7 in half PPR. I mean, these stats like just blew my mind looking them up. I'm like, how? Because I remember them being good. We were all talking about them. And then it was like, damn, I kind of forgot how good they were. Like, until you start looking back at them. It's been 6-7 months, right? We just all kind of forget.
It's true. Until he got hurt, he was balling out.
He was totally balling out. So
he seemed for a split second there, with Mike White, he was quarterback proof there.
But he had as soon as Zach Wilson came back, he had that one dud week, and then Zach Wilson was like, oh, yeah, I need to throw that guy the ball. And he did. And then they figured it out, but then he got hurt, so there's nothing you could do. So it's unfortunate. No. So I like Moore. I still, at the price, I'm probably going to go all in on him. I still would rather have him than Garrett Wilson. I know Garrett Wilson's, the new shiny toy in town, and, he's got the draft pedigree and, amazing receiver in college, but I'd rather have the guy who already has a little bit of the chemistry and has shown it, right? I mean, that matters to me. Like, I feel like in redraft, and I've said this before, especially on some of the team preview shows that we've done, I'm probably just not going to have a lot of the rookies on my redraft teams this year. I'm not feeling them
either.
I'm just not feeling them this year. A lot of them fell in a really bad situations, and the ones that didn't, you're like, but can I trust them? Like Christian Watson, you're like, I don't know. Like, we don't know about him. You know, that's the type of deal. It's just kind of like, whatever.
He just kind of reminds me of MVS 2.0.
A little bit already. The drop season camp. So, all right, let's move over here to Buffalo, and we got my question is, Stephon Diggs, right? We all know he's good. He'll be fine. My question here is about Gabe Davis, because he is the talk of the offseason on Twitter all over the place. People love him or hate him, right? He scored 9 touchdowns last year. Yeah. But going wide receiver 43, some people think he's a wide receiver 2 on the team. Some people think he's not. What is your take on this guy? Because I'll be honest, wide receiver 43, I want all the Gabe Davis.
Okay, so I've been a Gabe Davis truther for quite some time. For those who don't know, I'm UCF alum. Gabe Davis went to UCF, so I've been following him for quite some time. And I never even expected to get to the point where he was extremely fantasy relevant, right? And look, everyone knows about the playoff game where he just went absolutely nuclear. For the most part, he didn't have a good season. But look, there's some fair arguments, right? We had like Emmanuel Sanders like taking away targets from him, like old Emmanuel Sanders. So it's like, I think he's talented. I think the Bills just have to realize that he's talented and get him the ball more consistently, because we haven't seen him have a consistent target share. I think he's in a situation where he could earn a consistent target share now. I mean, I think his only thorn in his side might be, Dawson Knox stealing touchdowns, because he was a huge red zone threat. So, and that's another. And last year, Gabe Davis, made some hay about making long touchdowns, right? That was kind of what he did. But it would be nice to see him get consistent targets, right? If he could get like 6-7 targets a game on a consistent basis, then I feel like then we can maybe see him, like live up to that hype. But we haven't seen it, right? We've seen him have like 2 targets, 3 targets. It's just been sporadic. But I think I'm excited for him. I do believe he's the wide receiver too. But I just hope that we can see some consistency from him this season, because, again, that's what's been frustrating, right? You can see the talent, but if you don't get those consistent targets, it's hard to trust you in fantasy.
Yeah, and there still are a lot of mouths to feed, even on that Bills receiving core, despite him, being the guy that everybody thinks is. I mean, they still got Crowder. Isaiah McKenzie is nothing to sneeze at,
Over 100, they have 180 vacated targets though. So if they're gonna do it, I mean, I can't see Crowder getting a big chunk of that 180.
No.
So this is gonna be the year, if anything, for him to finally show he can handle that consistent volume.
I agree. I think it's got to be Gabe Davis. I don't understand how it wouldn't be. So I'm surprised his ADP is as low as it is. I feel like I've seen it way higher. This is just the one I pulled, so it is what it is.
I'm sure it'll catch up by the time of the season.
Oh, 100%. And I know he's going much higher in best ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're the second wide receiver in Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen led offense, so much fantasy potential there. But I mean, we'll move on to the last wide receiver core in this division. Now, this one's probably the most boring and underrated one we've already got it. I already said that.
Can't ignore this team everywhere, so we had to pull it in.
Exactly. I mean, we got to show them at least some respect. I mean, we had this question a lot of times when this player was in Miami, but, the trade of Devante Parker going to the Patriots they traded for somebody. He has the talent. He's much better than any other wide receiver they have. Is he the trustworthy, unquestioned number one in New England?
I would say, I think it's hard to say at this stage of his career. Like, we've seen Devante Parker absolutely ball out. I don't know if he just walked in there as the wide receiver 1. Could he be? Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of wide receiver competition there, so I think he has a chance. Like, he's going to be one of the main targets. But if he's going to be wide receiver, I don't know. Jacoby Myers seems to be, the target hog on that offense. You saw Kendrick Bourne look pretty good in that offense as well. So Parker might have a role in terms of how much fantasy upside. I don't know. I don't know how much of because it's going to be a low passing offense, right? So it's already a low passing offense. Does Parker come in and then command the higher target share? I don't know. But I do know that Mac Jones has that rapport with Jacoby Myers. So I think I prefer him right now at the wide receiver 1. And they drafted, Tyquan Thornton, and They tried to draft him in the second round, so I'm sure he's going to have some type of role in the offense. So
Some
I'm
sort of
not
gadget
extremely
play.
excited about Devontae right now. I think, to me, Myers is the wide receiver one.
The thing that fears me or scares me most about trusting him as your number one is you always hear these stories, this offense in New England, it's very complicated. It's not an easy system to learn for a wide receiver. That's why, who was it? Mohamed Sanu, when they traded for him, years ago, he struggled. And we all knew Mohamed Sanu could do it. But it's just a hard concept for this offensive scheme to learn that quickly. So I'm kind of with you leaning because you have the rapport, you have the chemistry. Myers knows the playbook, at least more than Devontae, I would think. So yeah. I'm with you on that one.
I mean, Parker's going to learn the offense, but, it's hard to beat rapport. And, again, if this was a couple years ago, maybe Devante Parker steps up in there. But I don't know if he just steps in there, commands the wide receiver one position. He's going to be the X, but – and again, in the low passing offense, a not exciting offense, and I know there's a change in offensive coordinator, but how drastically does it change, right? I believe it's still going to be run heavy. So yeah, I'm just not
short
excited
to intermediate passing game.
Yeah,
yeah, it's not exciting. It almost makes me want to. Maybe before Parker got there, maybe you were slightly excited to take Myers as a flex type receiver, and especially a 3 receiver league, right? Because of the targets he got last year, it was 126 targets. So you were hey, I'll take that, as, freebie receiver in a draft at that point. But then you add in Parker and you're just kind of well, all right, well now there's competition. Now I don't want it. So I'm just out. I just don't want it at all. But let's finish things up here with our tight end room, and we're leading the way with Dawson Knox at tight end 9, Mike Gesiki at tight end 12, Hunter Henry at tight end 13, and CJ Uzoma at tight end 33, newbie for the Jets. And Mike, start it off, man.
Yeah, so I have to apologize. This is going to be a little bit of a vague question, but it's absolutely relevant. Like we stated, 180 vacated targets. Dawson Knox had a breakout season last year. Is he going to continue that?
So the thing about Dawson Knox is that he didn't make his bread and butter by getting consistent targets. He did on the back of touchdowns. I believe he had 7 or 8 touchdowns, right? So that's what worries me a little bit about Dawson Knox. Thankfully, he's a tight end. So for tight ends, it doesn't take a lot to be in the top 12. You just got to score touchdowns or see targets. You don't have to necessarily do both. But I would say that it shouldn't look too much different. I think Josh Allen's still going to look to him in the red zone. So, but I feel like you're hoping that he continues to get those touchdowns, because do we see his targets, rising on a per game basis? If they do rise, it's not going to be significant. So I feel like he needs those touchdowns, which I think he can get them in this offense. So I'm because he's also in that kind of tight end dead zone in drafts too, right? It's the middle tier. So the middle tier can get dangerous, right? If you don't hit, either if you don't get a top guy, if you don't get one of the top guys, it's almost better to wait for a later guy. I much rather a Cole Kmet, for example, right? A guy who I know is going to get targets, even though he didn't score any touchdowns last year. I much rather skip over Dawson Knox and get someone like that. But just speaking about Dawson Knox, though, I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be a tight end 1. It's just where in that tight end 1 spectrum is he going to fall? We'll see. But I would like to see him get more consistent targets each game.
So Dawson Knox actually caught 9 touchdowns off 49 receptions. It's an absurd number. I mean, this screams
regression,
right? The not the good kind. I mean, this just reminds me of Robert Tonyan 2 years ago, right? Yep. Caught a ton of touchdowns. I think it was off of 55 receptions that year. It was just, and everybody was but it's Rodgers' guy. Apparently not. I mean, granted he got hurt, but before that he wasn't coming through anyway. So this one scares me with him, and I feel like you watched a few of our team preview shows because we talked about Knox and the same thing, and we were like, if I haven't taken my tight end by this point, I'm probably not going to reach for Knox, because you're going to get to the point in drafts where everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And then they're going to like sort of like panic pick their last tight end so they're not stuck with the last one. And Knox will be one of those guys, right? And he'll go earlier than he probably should in drafts just because of that. And to where you could wait and literally take the last guy. Nobody is going to take a backup tight end. I don't really say shouldn't. And yeah, I'd be perfectly happy with a Cole Kmet or something like that. Somebody who might get more targets, right? And maybe have a safer floor. And then, look, if that doesn't work out, go get next year's Dawson Knox off waiver wire week 2 because nobody drafted Dawson Knox last year, by the way. So, those guys always show up. Logan Thomas 2 years ago, right? Those guys always show up. So you just gotta feel it out. Just go get somebody with a safer floor in your draft at the back end tight end and then figure it out. That's always how I play it. Unless I go out and get, Andrews or Kelsey, but I feel like that's not going to be my deal this year. But I want to move over to New England here. And, last year we went into this team thinking like, oh, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry be a big 1-2 punch. We're going to see, the duo tight end room for New England coming back. And, man, it didn't work out that way. They tried, and it just failed miserably. And then they just started throwing the ball to Henry a bunch. And it worked out at the end of the year. Another guy, by the way, who had 9 touchdowns off 50 catches. So I guess, we could probably just regurgitate exactly what we said about Knox with Henry, but that's not my question. My question is, do you see Jonnu Smith getting back involved in this offense at all? Because I still think this dude's talented. I just don't know what happened last year.
It's just who's going to be the offensive coordinator. That's another thing. It's like
we don't know in New England. That's a problem.
We have no idea if it's
problem.
Judge. I'm extremely terrified if it's Matt Patricia. Good Lord. We don't know who it's going to be, so that's scary. So I feel like they should learn from their mistake last year because Jonnu is such a good blocker. He was asked to block so much, so he wasn't put out, for catching. And then Hunter Henry I think is better in that role, and that's why Mac Jones was looking to him in the end zone. And I think he's going to continue. So if I had to choose, I much prefer Henry. I feel like I don't want to touch Jonnu unless I'm in a 2 tight end league or if it's tight end premium and he's a late pick or something like that. But
even then, it's scary.
He's invisible to me at this moment, and so I'm perfectly fine passing on him. If he ends up being good, so be it. But based off what I saw, I have zero confidence that he's gonna look like the John we think he could be.
Yeah, he needs to move teams in order to get back to that.
There we go. Just move teams.
He's got to be one of the highest paid tight ends just to block. I mean, 4 years, $50 million when they signed him.
Exactly, you pay him all that money just to block, and
it's quite disappointing. But yep, I agree right with you. Jonnu, I just can't see it. And Hunter Henry, just like we said, we can regurgitate it with Dawson Knox. He's probably going to be just the same, in a lower scoring offense. We can move on to Miami's. This is the bell of the ball for tight ends right here. Mike Gesiki still finished as a tight end 1 last season, despite only scoring twice. Now, with these weapons, this offense expected to take a step forward. I mean, can we see this touchdown total positively regress?
I mean, in terms of totals, I'm excited for him just because I think he's going to be a tight end 1 again. He's been a tight end 1 for God knows how many years in a row. But I feel like I think outside of his rookie year or something like that, he's been living in tight end 1 land. So this offense, obviously he's not George Kittle, but if it looks anything like the San Francisco offense, maybe, we should see him being involved, right? Because I don't think they're going to ask him to block that much. I mean, look, there's going to be a run first team, and Gesiki's going to have to block a little bit, but we know that he's a very good receiver. And I think that the coverage, you're going to have to worry about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Your resources are going to be stretched thin, and that's going to leave better coverage for Mike Gesiki. So I think he could benefit from that as well. So I like him as a late guy too. I feel like nobody wants him. So he's kind of in that middle tier of tight end too, but towards the back end middle tier of tight end 1. But I like him. I'm not just saying because I'm a homer. I think that he's somebody, if you're waiting on tight end, I would try to target him.
I've always been a big Gesiki fan. I watched a lot of him in college and thought he'd be a baller when he got into the pros, and just unfortunately, it has never fully happened, like at least fantasy wise, like I think it's good. But last year we saw him get 111 targets, and he caught 73 and he only caught 2 touchdowns. So I think, those were all career highs for him and great for him. I think what we could see this year, right, is maybe a little bit fewer targets, a little bit fewer catches, but then the touchdowns sort of go back to where they were before. But then I think we're kind of left with the same player when it all kind of balances back out. So he's still going to be in that back end tight end 1 range. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to like really do a whole lot for you. He's going to have, some, 14, 10, 12 point weeks in half PPR, and then he's going to have some 4-point weeks in half PPR. And so that's just kind of the world you live in with Gesiki, I feel like. And so, adding Hill, I could take away some coverage, but unless he breaks out for like 9, 10 touchdowns, like we see with some of these other tight ends, it's just going to be, I think it's going to be hard for him to be consistent. And that's what you get with those tight ends after the first 4, 5 maybe. They're all kind of touchdown dependent at that point. And Gesiki is exactly one of those, in my opinion. So
yeah, he sounds like he's kind of in that tight end dead zone that we were talking about.
Yes. Unfortunately, all these tight ends in this division kind of are, and then some. So even farther back behind that. But Troy, something I didn't put on the sheet, but I'm going to surprise you with it. Give us your division standings prediction. Just give us the order.
Sure. Bills, Dolphins, Pats, Jets.
Mike?
Bills, Dolphins, Pats, Jets. Man. I'm going to be chalk. I'm going with Troy. Bills, Dolphins, Pats, Jets.
I think I might swap the Pats and the Dolphins. Sorry, Troy.
That was the one I was thinking about, but they got more talent. They just got
only because
no way.
Coaching, man. I just feel like I'm still Tua's got to take a step forward for me to like really believe that even the additions they made on offense are going to matter, and New England's going to bring it on defense. They just do. So, but those two are close, man. It could literally be like.
It's
like I guess they can't go 7-9 anymore. So whatever it is, I don't know. I'm not used to the 17 game schedule anymore yet. But they could go like, 8-9 and 7-10. I mean, whatever it is, right? They could go 9-8 and 8-9. I don't know. It's that they could be that close. That's a coin flip for me.
You discredit how good the defense was for Miami at the end of the year last year.
It's been good for a while. Again, like the Dolphins defense is going to be solid. The running game is going to be solid. The offensive line is going to be improved. Like I think they deserve the second spot.
I don't disagree. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's my feeling on it. But anyway, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you for joining us tonight, and I want to give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and what you got going on this season, man.
Sure. So you guys can find me at TKingMode on Twitter. You can find my work over at Football Guys. You can also find me at TKingMode on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. But yeah, you're going to see me. So I have a mailbag show every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dave Kluge and Victoria Geary. So we answer all your questions. So we're doing it in the off season, but in season we'll be obviously when things that really matter and relevant. So make sure to check that out every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And you'll see them articles from me, collab articles, solo articles, etc. But yeah, and again, I appreciate you guys inviting me on. This was a fun show.
Yeah, man. Great talking to you, and looking forward to seeing you at the Fantasy Football Expo. Hey, absolutely. And look, I know not everybody here, listening is analysts. Just to remind you, if you do not know about the Fantasy Football Expo, you are invited, even if you are not an analyst. This was a big thing last year that happened. People didn't think they were invited because they weren't an analyst. Please come. We want to meet you. That's the whole point of it. Like, we want to meet you, the fans. We love to meet you all. So please come out. It's actually not expensive. You just got to get there, and it's like what, $20 for Sunday. Like, it's awesome, dude. It was such a great time to be able to see and meet everybody that we got to meet. And Troy, you were one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not much to visit in Cleveland, but you got the Hall of Fame there too. You can make it a 2 for
Yeah, you can. a big football weekend. So, all right, Troy, I thank you for coming on again, and yep, we'll have to do it again soon, man. See ya.
Absolutely.
Hell of a good time. Peace out.
All right, Mike. So yeah, we're just over an hour, so I think we should just cool with that, man. I think what's the order next week? I closed the stupid spreadsheet. Next week, I believe we're doing it on an off day because I'm on vacation. But we are bringing on AFC North Chris Allen. We're going to be doing it either on I got to talk, but we're either going to be doing it on Friday or Saturday next week, I believe. So
yep, 25th
we
or the 26th.
Yeah, we will figure that out, and I will announce it. I gotta talk to Chris about it. So sorry, Saturday or Sunday, I suppose. So yeah, we'll figure it out. Also, hopefully AJ starts feeling better. That might play a part in it, but we will be doing that show as well. But it will not be Thursday, so stay tuned for that. But let's close it out, man. Let's do this.